come back down. It's an extra 200 vertical feet. I'll let you know if I don't think you should go to the Columbia Crest. If you get up there and hit the crater rim and you're sitting inside that crater, you summited Mount Rainier. But I encourage everybody to go to the true summit, because that is the true summit of Mount Rainier. The summit is the highest point on a mountain, but in this case we let people summit once they've hit the crater rim. But I think everyone's got it in them to go the extra distance, and I think you should, because it's a great view and you'll be proud of yourselves for it.
You said it's 45 what now?
It's about 45-minute round trip to go up to the Columbia Crest, hit Register Rock, should be a register up there, and come back. We'll have a short little break, and then we're going to start walking downhill. I'm not going to talk about downhill right now, but it happens pretty quick, and we don't take the same breaks on the way down as we do on the way up. And we get back down here generally in about half the time as it took us to get up, sometimes longer. But we'll go over going downhill once we're up there. We're still going up right now, so we'll worry about that first. Kind of makes sense to everybody? You got any questions about anything?
I have a couple. So
Yeah.
for the what we're leaving, like the sleeping bag, for example, that stuff can get zipped up in the tent.
Yes.
The stuff that you need is food or like bowls or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
food, bowl
Trash,
spoons, and trash, and try to consolidate it. Maybe there's a stuff sack or something, maybe in that extra garbage bag, and then on your own accord, you can just bring it over to that Fox box and put it inside there.
Okay, second question on the
Yeah.
harness. So like obviously we want it like real like high and tight here.
Right.
So what layer is it gonna go over?
Great question. The key with the harness is that you want to make sure that it's over something that you're not going to take off, meaning you don't want to have to keep tucking things in. So for me, for example, in the morning, I'm most likely, and I tend to wear a little bit more clothing than some folks do, and I think that most folks are generating a little bit more heat, maybe, and that's just because I got more practice at it. So for me, I'll be wearing this next to skin base layer, most likely, this is all subject to change, a slightly light insulating fleece and the soft shell. So for me, I'm just going to harness over this soft shell.
Okay.
If I decide for some reason in the morning that that's going to be too warm, then I'm going to harness over that red fleece.
Okay.
And now those aren't going to come off for my entire way up. It's easier to take things off than tuck them in,
Okay.
right, if it's already tucked in. But what you don't want to do is put your harness on over your puffy jacket.
Right.
Because then you start
That's what I
taking
was
it off.
asking.
But
Okay.
yeah, whatever
So
like you're
climbing-
wearing now.
Climbing pants, and then sometimes I get hot in this, so like maybe just like the next.
The next layer.
Okay.
Yep, and as long as we have access to that belay loop and stuff, where the knot is and your clipping points, then that'll be good. Yeah. And we can always throw the Gore-Tex on right over the harness, so that's not a take-off to put on type of situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you recording all this?
I am.
Climbing is inherently dangerous, and while we cannot eliminate
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
How much rock travel?
Well, if you look right now, we'll go straight up through camp. We're on this track over to the left. And then we're going to, over this hump that's in front of us, beyond the first cracks you can see, we'll drop down to the right and hit a quickly traversing track that, and you can see it from here. It's kind of a boot pack, and it goes all the way over onto that little tongue of snow underneath the series of shelved rocks, right? And so we're gonna traverse into one of those nooks and crannies underneath the staircased rock, make our way over to the skyline before the breakover. So we call that the nose of the cleaver. And from the nose, we'll go straight up the spine more or less for not very long, and then start switchbacking on the rocks until, if you see where the boot pack meets the snow up higher, where that first patch of snow is on this side, we're basically going to cross the rocks and get onto the snow there, and then do a couple switchbacks. So it's basically a third of the cleaver is on rock, and then the rest of it will be mostly snow, but in and out of sections of rock. Does that help answer your question? Yeah.
And then it's still from there.
And then from the top of the cleaver, which is at like 12.3 or 4 or something like that, then it's all snow. Yeah.
Much more friendlier.
Maybe a little bit of rock on the cleaver there, but like 4 steps.
Where's this ladder?
High.
Hi.
Like 14. Yeah. About 11.1, 1180 or so. Yeah.
I had one other thought.
Yeah.
Just, Mike was saying, like, don't worry about going downhill. Like, we'll talk about that after we get to the top. But the one thing you do want to keep in mind is that the summit is at the end of the day. So when we're asking you, like, and, we don't think any of you guys are going to have a problem, but when we're asking you about your energy level and how tired you are, realize that tomorrow, from the time you get up to the time we get to the parking lot, it's probably going to be about 15 hours. So, and the first 6 or 7 of that is getting to the summit. So that's really a little less than half of your energy output for the day. And going down is still work.
It's a lot of time on
Not
your feet.
to, intimidate anybody, but just
Well, it was
you don't want to be
interesting.
thinking like, oh, I'm at the top,
Yeah.
we're done.
Welcome
Take
to
me
boot
down now.
camp,
Where's
huh?
We were walking past RMI,
Welcome to
you know,
boot camp,
coming
huh?
down, and we were like, congrats,
So-
good job. And they looked at us like they wanted to die. So we kind of got like a little sense of like how long the day
We got a little chills.
And that's the other thing is, Mike will be setting a pace tomorrow that might seem, probably for most of you guys, it's maybe all of you, it's going to seem kind of slow. Like, coming up here today probably felt pretty easy, right? Relatively, blisters aside and stuff, like most of you probably could have gone faster than that, but it's all about conserving energy so that we don't get down to the parking lot with you guys feeling like you want to kill us. And then,
That's right. Don't swim out
in
any
addition to
further than
that,
you
like
swim
when we
at.
get back down here, you guys are probably going to crawl in your tents and take a nap, and we're going to be like, no, keep going, because the longer you're on the feet, throughout the day, and the longer the day gets, that's all I think you guys are like. Great.
I mean, the other thing what's that?
I was gonna say, why do you keep pushing it all the way out to the edge of that thing?
Some people do crack rescue there for practice.
Okay.
And sometimes if we find a big old pile of shit here because some independent party left us a gift, then we'll shovel it out and dump it in a crevasse.
What about up there?
Somebody
I have
lost
no
some tents up here not too long ago too.